Hey everybody, Mr. Movies 87 here, bringing you a new episode of a new series today. Had this idea a little while ago, actually, kind of tossed around in my head, to do a little breakdown of sorts for different games and different characters and whatnot, like different classes for a Final Fantasy game, or, well, today's first episode is going to be on the Generation 1 starters of Pokemon, kind of just fun stuff like that, just as a fun little side series. So yeah, today I'll be doing breakdown for Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, all the Gen 1 starters, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting off with Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, I'll say right now, is my personal favorite starter out of the three, and in my opinion, the best overall. That's, again, my opinion. All three of them are viable in their own ways. Some of there's others more viable than others, but that's just me. Anyway, Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur starts out with being fairly bulky to start out with, having pretty decent defense, if I recall. But his main strength is special attack. He has the highest special stat of all three starters, I believe, at the start. He also has the highest base stat total of the three. I think his top stat at 318 overall. Squirtle's being at 314, and Charmander at 309, if I recall. I did a little research on this before the video just to be sure. Bulbasaur also evolves the fastest amongst the three. He evolves at first at level 16 into Ivysaur, where all three of them do at level 16. But then he reaches his final stage of Venusaur at level 32, which is 4 levels before Charmeleon or Wartortle reach their final forms. Only real problem I have with Bulbasaur, if you can even really call it a problem, is that he really is only stuck with like grass and normal type attacks. He really only learns grass type moves. So really, he's like his main moves, if you teach him Body Slam later on, that'll serve him well. Vine Whip early on is a good, decent grass type move. Yeah, a good, decent grass type move. Yeah, redundant. But then once he learns Razor Leaf, then he'll be in really good shape because of his high special stat, and of course, grass being based off of that works really, really well in his favor. Solar Beam can also work well for super powerful attack, but it does take a turn to charge. But he has reasonable enough bulk to survive a couple of hits before he uses it, so that works well enough anyway. He's not the bulkiest amongst the three. That award goes to Squirtle, but I wouldn't say the bulkiest thing in the world, but he has pretty decent defensive stats. As far as weaknesses go, not too many to speak of. Being grass type, he is of course weak to fire and flying and ice. I believe with ground, I think he only takes neutral damage from ground. If I recall, his ground beats poison, but then I think grass is resistant to ground. I forget exactly. Pokemon's weird. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments below, so I thank you in advance for that. Um, and of course, it being weak to psychic as well. So a handful of weaknesses, but really his strengths really do outweigh that. He only has trouble against a handful of gems to start out with. I mean, oh, not even to start out with. I phrased that wrong. He only has only has trouble against a handful of gyms in general, really. For Brock and Misty, he destroys them easily with Vine Whip, so that's no worries there. Against Surge, he's resistant to electric attacks, so he's fine there. Just spam Body Slam or Razor Leaf and you're fine. Erica, of course, she's Grass type, so you're resistant there, so spam Body Slam and you're good to go. Coda's a little tricky because he's Poison type, and Grass is ineffective against Poison. But again, just spam Body Slam and you'll be fine enough anyway. Sabrina's the trickiest one, or one of the trickiest ones, because of course she's Psychic, and well, Psychic Pokemon are really, really damn good in Gen 1 for one thing. They're great overall, but especially in Gen 1. But pretty much, if you're leveled enough, spam Body Slam. They're generally pretty fragile for the most part, so should be fine there. Blaine is also a problem, of course, being Fire type. And Bulbasaur really learns no other moves to kind of balance his weaknesses there. So, kind of in trouble on that one. But then Giovanni, he's ground type, so it's spam Razor Leaf and you're good to go. As far as the Elite Four goes overall, he does well against Lorelei because she's ice. Agatha is super, super tricky because she's ghost types, and of course, grass isn't effective against poison. Normal attacks don't affect them. That's all Bulbasaur has, so that's, yeah, you're kind of stuck there. Bruno's kind of overall. Not strong against him, besides his two Onyxes. Does he have two in Gen 1? I think he does. It's been so long, I don't even remember anymore. But he does decently well there. And then Lance. What does Lance even have in Gen 1? I should have researched this as well. Um, doesn't do too well against the Dragon Knights because they're flying, but he's well enough as is. His body slam is good to go. And then Gary, depending on what you have, may or may not be able to wreck you. But really, overall, Bulbasaur is probably the your best choice for starter. He does do, I would say, a little better overall than Squirtle, who will be my number 2 starter here. But again, this is just for as far as my top 3 goes. You have, for me, it goes Bulbasaur, then Squirtle, then Charmander. But that's not saying any of them are bad by any means. They're, like I said, they all have their own uses. It's just personal preference or what's your favorite type and all that fun stuff there. Anyway, moving on to Squirtle. Squirtle would be, pure water type the rest of the way. Well, the entire way of the game, really. Evolves into Wartortle at level 16, and then Blastoise at level 36. He's the bulkiest member of the three. Highest defensive stats overall. Pretty decent physical attack as well. A little bit lacking on the special attack there, but he can work around it. He does get a very, very good move set. He learned a decent few attacks, but also a good handful of TMs. A good move set for him would be, well, at least what stuff that I use anyway, would be like Body Slam, Ice Beam, and Surf, which is pretty much really all he needs for the most part. You have a good physical attack, you have a really strong water attack, and a really strong ice attack. What more do you really need? The 4 slot could pretty much almost be whatever you feel like, really. Maybe even Skull Bash as a backup to the Body Slam. Just about anything really works. Squirtle overall, as far as the gym leaders go, destroys Brock, obviously. Resistant type to Misty because she's water, so you should have Bite as a Wartortle by then, so you're good there. Surge, he gets kind of sort of wrecked by, although he didn't learn Date as a Wartortle. He didn't learn Date at any stage of evolution, if I recall. So just spam that, and you're good. Erica, she's a problem just of grass. You can use Dig on the any of her poison types. Then when do you get Ice Beam? Oh yeah, you can get Ice Beam right in Celadon City as well. Just buy a drink for the one girl. I forget which TM, or which drink it is, but buy all 3 drinks, give them all to her, and one of the TMs you'll get will be Ice Beam. So that takes care of that problem. As far as the rest of the game goes, he's neutral really against Coda and Sabrina. He destroys Blaine, destroys Giovanni. Neutral against Lorelei. Works pretty well against Agatha with their Ghost Poison types. Just use Did or Earthquake. I forgot about Earthquake. That's right. I teach that to him instead. Um, who else? Koga destroys the Onyxes. Does well enough against the fighting types. Blaine can, not Blaine. Lance, he can Ice Beam all the Dragonites and whatever else he has, pretty much, or Surf. That works well enough. And then Gary, you can have a crap ton of different Pokemon depending on who you have. Like Arcanine, he destroys. Exeggutor, use Ice Beam. Pidgeot, use Ice Beam. Rhydon, use Ice Beam or Surf. That's more or less it. So yeah, he actually, it's. I almost want to go back and forth on this. He and Bulbasaur are both up there. I will definitely say. Some people probably say Squirtle's a little bit better than Bulbasaur, but I think that's just me. That Bulbasaur's just a little bit better. That's all. And the number 3 starter would be Charmander. Starts out as a fire type, eventually evolves into Charizard at level 36. He turns to pure flying. He's the bit time offensive one in the group, especially with a special attack and speed there. He's like the special sweeper pretty much. He is rather on the fragile side and has a rough go of things to start the game. Brock, being ground rock, destroys him pretty much. So you kind of need a backup Pokemon to help out there or be super over-leveled. Or if you're playing Fire Red, he learns Metal Claw, I think at level 13 if I recall. So you can use that to be super effective, so that works well enough there. Misty, you'll need a grass type to help out there. Just, again, water beats fire, blah, blah, blah. He does well enough against Surge, just teach him Did. He does learn Did, right? Yes, he does. Charmeleon can learn Did, yeah. So that works there. Destroys Erica. Mad against Coda. If you use Did, that works well enough. Sabrina, you can use Slash. That works well enough. My computer, the screen darkened there a little bit. I'm not sure if it would catch in the video. I was trying to fall asleep on me there. I don't think it would have picked up, but no big deal. Let's see who else. So yeah, I did Sabrina. Not literally, of course. Um, yeah, Blaine. Neutral. I teach someone to say neutral resistance. So resistant to fire, obviously. So just use did. That works well enough there. Blaine. You can also. Yeah, wow. Blaine. Yeah, you fight Blaine twice in a row. And Giovanni you can use did at some point on his rock ground types. Otherwise, he's not too useful there. Lorelei, against the ice types, you're fine. Against the other water types, you might be in trouble. The other ones are kind of sort of overall, really. Doesn't really do too well. Well, I say too well, but kind of just average overall against Koda. No, Koda's. I'm thinking of Gold and Silver for the Elite Four. Yeah, Lorelei I already mentioned. Agatha is kind of just flamethrower or dig. Bruno, you can use Fly for Charizard, so that works well enough. As far as Lance goes, Slash is pretty much all you can really have to work with. And as far as Gary goes, depending on who you're fighting on his team, does well against Exeggutor with Flamethrower or Fly. Did on Arcanine. Gyarados wouldn't do too well against. Pidgeot would pretty much just be almost mirror match, kind of. Well, yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, actually. Yeah, Charmander, yeah, a little bit lacking overall as far as like who he's strong against, who he's all that fun sort of some fun stuff there. So yeah, that's more or less my review on these three. Again, yeah, Bulbasaur barely edges out Squirtle. That's yeah. I want to say this again because Pokemon can be a serious topic for some people. So it's just my opinion on what I think is best. Everyone's going to have a different opinion, obviously. You could ask 100 people, and they'll all pretty much say a different thing, more or less. So that's essentially how it goes. But yeah, Bulbasaur, then Squirtle, then Charmander. That's my top three there, or my order of the three there. You can do well with all three of them, obviously. If you play a solo file, you should have. I mean, you should be fine. That's pretty much all I'm saying there. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of that first episode. As far as other future ideas I have in mind for this little mini series, I do want to do generations 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, obviously. I had that in mind from the start. Some of like Final Fantasy ideas, like I could do some class breakdowns for like Tactics or Tactics Advance. For those ones, I'm not sure if I would do. Excuse me. I'm not sure if I would do like separate videos for every single class, or maybe like break it up into two parts. I do half the classes in one video and half in another, because there are a lot available in both of those games. So I'll figure it out from there. And then maybe like stuff like maybe Wild Arms 2, Wild Arms 3. Just little fun stuff like that. I'm also there the Tales of games as well. I can do some of those too. And also, if there's any other ideas you guys want to see me do, let me know, and then I will be happy to do them. And with that, guys, that wraps up episode 1, and I'll see y'all on episode 2. This has been Mr. Movies 87 signing off. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.